Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. I'm doing another kind of tips and pedal settings video. This one is going to be on the Boss CE2. You know, a few months back when we were talking about chorus and everything and talking about what possible effect you could be using for the album, so that's still awesome to see, and I'm really happy that John did stick with the CE2.
Look at us. Hey, look at us.
Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought?
Not me.
Now, it's worth noting, guys, before we get into the exact settings, that this one here that I'm using is a vintage CE2. It's a green label made in Japan CE2. I got it for a really great deal actually about a year ago when I was building my 2019 World Tour replica board, and then just kind of luck of the draw that John stuck with using it, and a lot of people I still think forget that he's used a CE2 in 2019 and he was experimenting with chorus all the way back then. So for this new album, yes, it's all over it, but he was experimenting with it a couple of years ago. So you guys, my CE2, I'm going to show you the exact settings that I kind of use and go with, based on more or less by ear from the 2019 World Tour leading into Sob Rock, and kind of what we know confirmed by John should be ballpark settings. As with pedals, just in general, but it's even more so amplified when you have a pedal that's this old. The parts tolerances and everything are going to vary, so what your specific CE2, if it's a vintage one, sounds like might be a little bit different at these exact settings than mine. So just use your ear based on kind of the chorus tone that I'm getting for the rate and depth, and you can kind of dial it in. Ballpark should be kind of around the settings I'm going to show you, and you know what, it's only two knobs. I'm confident you guys can use your ears to dial in the rest of the settings. When Christian James Hand did his session on Last Train Home, John was in the chat and he obviously confirmed that he was using a CE2 as well as the settings, and he said that they're about half, maybe a little less. And all this actually confirmed was that John didn't really change his CE2 settings from the 2019 World Tour. He was actually using pretty much the same chorus sound with the CE2 all the way back then, and clearly he must have obviously liked it and stuck with it for Sob Rock. So this confirmed that really these are kind of John's go-to CE2 settings. So here are the settings that should get you within the ballpark, and as I've mentioned, kind of use your ear to dial it in and tweak it if need be on your own vintage CE2. For me, the rate, I usually keep that at about 1030 to 1130. That's kind of where the rate for me will normally sit, within that range. Depth is more between, I'd say, 11 and 12, a little bit higher up, and the rate's a little bit lower down. That's kind of, at least to my ear, what I think gets the best sound, and you guys are going to shortly hear now what that sounds like. So in order to help you guys dial your chorus settings in by ear, I'm going to just play that very first chord to the chord progression of Last Train Home, and I'm going to let it ring out so you guys can use your ear and kind of hear how the chorus is modulating and affecting your guitar signal. Then I'm going to play the chord progression without the CE2, then with the CE2 added. All you're hearing is Silver Sky, CE2, and 2 Rock. So hopefully with that one just long chord, you guys can hear the way the chorus pedal is modulating that chord, and you can use your ear to dial in the settings a little bit closer to what should match with your exact CE2 versus mine. As I mentioned, an old pedal like this and the parts tolerances, your settings might not be identical to mine, but should be very close to the ballpark at least. And between that and using your ear right now, you should be able to dial it in very close. I like to point out as well that you guys don't need to go out and grab the black label silver screw long dash CE2, you know, kind of the holy grail CE2, the one that's uber expensive and highly collectible. You guys do not need to go and get that one for this sound. Mine is a short dash green label made in Japan CE2, and I think it sounds phenomenal. And you know what? John's, I know at least the one that he started off the 2019 World Tour with, is not the long dash black screw black label made in Japan CE2. It's a short dash one with a black screw, whether that means it's a black label made in Japan, green label made in Japan, or green label made in Taiwan at that point, I don't know. And if it's the one that he's stuck with up until now, we don't know, but I'm willing to bet that, you know what, it's probably that same CE2, so you don't even want the uber expensive rare and collectible one if you want the exact one that John has, because based on everything that I know at least, that's not the one he's using. Now, of course, I can't end the discussion on the CE2 there with Sawbrock. We know that John was using the CE2 at least for the first leg of the 2019 World Tour. So I'm going to kind of give you guys a demonstration on how the CE2 affects lead tone. I'm going to just kind of play a little bit of the Helpless solo, first with just my TS10, then I'll add the CE2 in to show you guys how when you're playing a lead solo, that chorus just thickens everything up when it's set, basically like this. Something like that. So hopefully you guys could hear with the modulation being added to something like the Helpless solo, you can hear how that thickens the tone up and just makes it a little bit more interesting. It's not like this wave of 80s chorus going over your tone. It's just something subtle and really just adds a little bit of character to your tone and just makes it a bit more interesting than just, you know, drive pedal and a bit of amp reverb. I'm also now going to show you guys an example of what your CE2 set like at the wrong settings would sound like, and I'm actually going to quote JM here and how he described what he was going for with the level of chorus effect on his tone. Now I'm going to quote directly, this is from a guitar magazine, my friend Alejandro, who runs the John Mayer Gear Instagram page, as well as my friend Tommy at Tommy Guitars, who actually is the original owner of this Satin Mock Sand Silver Sky. The two of them together translated this magazine from Japanese to English. So I'm just going to right now quote directly their translation. Massive shout out to those guys. Their information is going to be down in the description below to check out their socials. We live in 2021. The key to making music that looks like 35 years ago in this modern age is don't overdo it like a fake. There was a lot of trial and error until that idea. Chorus changes the pitch a bit as well, so it's difficult to use a lot of it. It sounds like it's off pitch. It took a lot of time to select the right stuff. Once recorded, I listened back to it and didn't keep it unless I felt something unique there. A chorus pedal doesn't give you the full chorus effect if you're subtle, but it will change the tone of your guitar somewhat. It gives me a vocal-like nuance to the guitar. Last Train Home doesn't have that flashy sway like a jet flanger, but the tone and expressiveness changes slightly. So based on that quote directly from JM there, it kind of backs up the whole chorus as just the subtle effect, just to add a little bit of flavor to your tone, a little bit of character, not anything crazy, which now I'm going to go show you guys. I'm going to dial up both settings on the CE2 here and kind of show you guys what the chorus you don't want to sound like. You can clearly hear that there's way too much chorus and it's just taking over your guitar sound and making it sound really modulated and just not natural with a little bit of flavor like what you're aiming for. So don't make your settings like that if you want the John Mayer kind of subtle chorus effect. And there we go. Those are kind of my tips and tricks and the idea behind John Mayer's chorus pedal settings using a vintage CE2. Hopefully you guys learned something. This helps you all kind of dial in that sob rock chorus sound, or if you're looking for something to spice up your lead tones like John did in 2019, well, this should also help you out as well. If there's another pedal you guys want me to talk about or put a video on giving you some tips and tricks and showing you guys what it's supposed to sound like, please leave a comment down below. Like this video if you enjoyed it, hit subscribe, ring that bell button, all that good stuff. Follow me on Instagram at JustinGuitarist, and we shall see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.